The world of GLP-1s continues to be crazy with recent news from the FDA about availability of compounded tirzepatide, new GLP-1s from China, and a whole lot more. Stay tuned as we take a look at what's going on in GLP-1s this week.
Welcome to the Downsize News. It's Monday, October 21st, and we're excited to bring you the latest updates and insights on GLP-1 medications. I'm Lorraine Durham, and I've lost over 50 pounds on compounded tirzepatide, also known as Zepbound and Mounjaro.
And hello, I'm Christopher Durham, and I've lost over 80 pounds using Zepbound, Mounjaro, and compounded tirzepatide. Today, we'll discuss all the latest news, covering everything you need to know about GLP-1s, including Mounjaro, Zepbound, Wegovy, Ozempic, tirzepatide, semaglutide, and new things as well.
And hey, here's a quick reminder, we're not doctors. Please contact your healthcare professional before starting any weight loss medication or treatment.
If you like the Downsized News, please join us for the Downsized live show coming up this week at a special day and time of Friday, October 25th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Join us here on YouTube for live Q&As with our Downsized viewers.
Let's jump into today's news and explore what's new in the world of GLP-1s.
Story number one, we're recapping two major developments from last week that we covered extensively in videos that impact those of us managing the disease of obesity. From a temporary win for patient access with compounded medications to mounting frustrations over drug shortages, these stories highlight both progress and ongoing challenges, so let's break it down. The first piece of it, the FDA temporarily allows compounded tirzepatide in a win for patient access. The FDA announced that 503As and 503B pharmacies can continue to compound tirzepatide for now. Don't get too excited. This decision ensures patients can access alternatives like compounded versions of Mounjaro and Zepbound, at least while the situation remains under review. This update came after a legal challenge from the Outsourcing Facilities Association, the OFA, and Pharmacia Pharmacy, who argued that the FDA had prematurely removed tirzepatide from its shortage list on October 2nd. On Friday, a court returned the decision to the FDA for consideration. In response, the FDA confirmed that it will not enforce restrictions on compounding during this review period. Scott Brunner, the CEO of the Allowance for Pharmacy Compounding, Scott, we would love to have you on, what they call it the APC, applauded the outcome and credited the OFA with taking swift legal action to protect patients. However, Brunner also cautioned pharmacies to consult their state boards before resuming compounding. While this temporary allowance is welcome news, the battle may not be over. Eli Lilly could still take legal steps to protect its patent on tirzepatide. So we may see something this coming week on the court case between the OFA and the FDA, but we're not sure what it'll be, so stay tuned.
But for right now, while they're battling, compounders can still make compounded tirzepatide.
The options are essentially three things. Number one, the FDA comes back and says, I need more time to investigate. We don't really know, in which case it'll continue to be available while it's in investigation. Number two, they come back and they say, nope, it was really in shortage, in which case I would assume the OFA case will proceed forward and the judge will have to review everything. And hopefully the judge would continue some sort of restraining order, in which case compounding would continue. Or it comes back and they say, no, it is really in shortage, in which case compounding could continue. So there's options. So our second big story from last week was the FDA's new blog post, 7 Things to Know About Drug Shortage Management. The post outlines how the FDA handles drug shortages, but it left many of us with more questions than answered. In our segment, we explored patients' frustrations when life-saving medications like Mounjaro, Zepbound, and Wegovy are all delayed or unavailable. The FDA says it will take a proactive approach by working with pharmaceutical companies and other agencies to prevent shortages, but in reality, patients are still facing delays with little transparency on when shortages end. One major issue is the FDA's reliance on the manufacturers to self-report supply problems. This system raises concerns about accuracy, as companies may not always prioritize transparency over profits. The FDA also defines a shortage narrowly, only listing a drug if no manufacturer can meet demand. But for those of us going from pharmacy to pharmacy trying to fill prescriptions, it certainly feels like a shortage, whether the FDA agrees or not. There's a critical need for the FDA to redefine shortage as a patient shortage. I don't really care about the behind-the-scenes wranglings of distributors and supply chain and all that. If I can't walk in a pharmacy and get my medication, it's on shortage.
Well, then how would they'd need to poll the audience, poll the customers. And how do they do that?
Well, so there's a number of other trade associations, and the Pharmacy Trade Association actually tracks it as well. And the FDA has the shortage reporting tool.
Yeah.
So they could talk to doctors who are writing prescriptions. There's a lot of ways to collect data.
Okay.
Honestly, they could use registered data. They could use credit card data to see what's being sold. There's a ton of data they can get, but really all they're doing is going to the manufacturer and saying, hey, Eli Lilly, are you out? And Eli Lilly's going, well, that'll tank our stock price. So no, we're not out. The Post also mentioned that the FDA sometimes withholds shortage information to prevent panic buying. While I understand the reasoning, it leaves patients and healthcare providers in the dark, making it hard to plan care effectively. I don't know. It's all kind of a hot mess there. And
yeah, I mean, from a customer side, if I can't go into my local CVS or Walgreens and purchase the medication, then that to me says shortage.
Right.
So.
And you shouldn't be expected to know the ins and outs of their distribution. It doesn't matter.
I don't know. I don't care. I just want to be able to access my medication on a monthly basis.
And honestly, the FDA should not be about protecting the manufacturer. It should be about protecting Americans.
The customer, yeah.
Right. So it should be about us, not them.
Britain is set to explore whether the use of Eli Lilly's weight loss drug Mounjaro can help people return to work and address the country's rising long-term sickness, which has been dragging the economy. The initiative follows Lilly's announcement of a £279 million investment in the UK, that's $365 million, revealed during a flagship summit hosted by Prime Minister Keir Starmer. As part of the deal, a large-scale real-world study will be coordinated by the University of Manchester to assess the effectiveness of tirzepatide, marketed as Mounjaro. The study will involve up to 3,000 participants and focus on their health-related quality of life, changes in employment status, and sick days from work. Health Minister Wes Streeting emphasized the drug's potential impact, calling it a tool that could transform the nation's health. Obesity costs the National Health Service, NHS, £11 billion annually and contributes to higher sick leave rates and workforce exits. The long-term benefits of these drugs could be monumental in our approach to tackling obesity, Streeting wrote in The Telegraph. For many people, these weight loss jabs will be life-changing, help them get back to work, and ease the demands on our NHS. This study aligns with a broader NHS plan to offer weight loss drugs to nearly 250,000 people over the next 3 years. However, Streeting stressed that while medications like Mounjaro are powerful tools, lifestyle changes will also be necessary to ensure sustainable health improvements. The NHS can't be expected to always pick up the tab for unhealthy lifestyles, he added. Sounds like it goes back to the old diet and exercise thing to me. But anyway, Amanda Pritchard, chief executive of the NHS, expressed optimism about the study, saying, obesity is one of the biggest public health issues we face, and we know weight loss drugs will be a game changer. The outcome of this study could provide valuable insights for the NHS and shape future strategies in tackling both obesity and the economic strain caused by long-term sickness.
I mean, to me, this is exciting, but this is a country actually real-world testing the economic impact of obesity and these medications.
Right.
It's a good-sized test, but it could roll globally. Other countries could look at it and say, this is part of our national healthcare system. This, honestly, it could be part of our economic healthcare system. It's just...
Yeah, I like the fact that they're looking at obesity as causing other problems, other diseases, sick days from work. So if they can help treat obesity, what would they get back as a country in terms of more productive people? I think is what they're
yeah, well, and it could roll into, I mean, we've seen our government over the last 100 years do various things on a national scale. The national highway system was built to encourage transportation. Super expensive. You'd have to go pull the numbers, but it was not a cheap thing to do. However, it encouraged economic development so much.
Yeah, I think they're intrigued by the thought that tirzepatide Mounjaro can help. But, when he throws in there that, healthy lifestyle changes have to come in too,
Well, they're always going to say that.
they don't really realize that these medications are going to be for life for a lot of people. And once they stop taking them, then maybe the weight comes back.
Well,
for some people.
And note, in England, there is no Zepbound. It's all Mounjaro.
It's all Mounjaro.
Right.
Yeah, they only have the Mounjaro.
If you just commented on that, you're right. So story number 3, a new report from Impact Analytics projects a significant shift in U.S. calorie consumption, with adult intake expected to drop by 10 trillion calories annually by 2030. GLP-1 medications like Ozempic, Wegovy, Zepbound, and Mounjaro are key drivers behind this decline as they reshape the treatment of the disease of obesity and eating behaviors in our country. Currently, the average American consumes about 3,864 calories per day. That's a lot of calories.
Wow.
According to the USDA data, by 2030, that number is expected to fall to 2,800 and 3,500 calories for many adults. This shift translates to roughly 100 to 800 fewer kilocalories per person each year. So it's about 1,000 calories a day less. A small personal change, but one that adds up to a massive reduction on a national scale. GLP-1 medications have grown immensely, as we all know, in popularity, helping us manage cravings and reduce hunger by slowing digestion and regulating blood sugars. As a result, many of us are developing a preference for healthier foods, moving away from sugary and processed options, and this behavior is already showing up in grocery sales data, with nutritious food categories growing between 5 and 8.7% annually since 2022. The Midwest, believe it or not, is leading the shift, with healthy food sales increasing by 10 to 22%, while the Northeast has seen a more gradual transition, with unhealthy food sales dropping by 0.5 to 5%. Fresh produce sales are also rising. Fruit sales have grown 12.4% and vegetables 9.2% between 2023 and 2024. Certainly all those are good for us no matter what, right? Eating more vegetables has got to be a good thing.
I wonder if just more vegetables are readily available in the Midwest compared to the Northeast.
It's possible. I mean, availability is possible, but there's grocery stores everywhere that can get them. Yeah. The popularity of GLP-1 medications is expected to continue to rise, with 1 in 60 U.S. adults already using these drugs, according to the American Pharmacists Association. The impact is expected to reshape grocery store layouts and produce offerings as retailers respond to the growing demand for fresh, organic, and minimally processed foods. In addition to GLP-1 usage, other public health initiatives like calorie labeling and soda taxes are contributing to the shift. The report suggests that as more people adopt these medications and healthier eating habits, the U.S. food system will undergo a lasting transformation. With healthier choices becoming the norm and calorie consumption steadily declining, the ripple effects of these changes could help reshape a healthier future for the entire country. I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, I would think the food industry would be a little concerned by all this, especially makers of junk foods and processed foods.
We did a story a couple of months ago about ConAgra, a large food manufacturer that make everything from Chef Boyardee to Marie Callender's. He said, we'll just change. We've got factories, so we'll just change what we're making.
Also, calorie labeling, which it just hurts my feelings to see those calories when you're at Starbucks or at a restaurant or whatever.
We've seen that. Certainly, I think federally, if you've got more than, I won't get the numbers right.
So many stores.
20 stores, 50 stores. There's a number
labeling.
You have to do calorie labeling in.
Yeah. It does make a difference. I certainly will not eat the chicken and waffles at the Metro Diner because it's like 2,000 calories or something.
It's a lot
for that
one
meal.
And it's like food for 5 anyway. So.
Yeah. It does make you think twice. And now we interrupt the weekly news to tell you about Club Downsized. While Downsized video content is always free, Club Downsized offers something extra for those who want to support us further. It offers perks like loyalty badges, early video access, members-only live streams, exclusive Facebook groups, and even personalized monthly coaching sessions with Christopher or me. Click the join button and check out all the details on joining Club Downsize today. And our next story, for those of us using GLP-1 medications like Ozempic or Wegovy, exciting new research suggests these drugs might do more than help with weight loss. They could actually slow the aging process. Tell me more.
I like that.
Researchers are now exploring how semaglutide impacts conditions like heart disease, arthritis, Alzheimer's, and even cancer, offering potential health benefits far beyond what was initially expected. I like this because when people say, what are the long-term effects? We can say all these things.
Yep.
At the 2024 European Society of Cardiology conference, Professor Harlan Krumholtz from Yale School of Medicine shared that semaglutide has far-reaching benefits beyond what we initially imagined. He noted that improving overall health through the GLP-1 medications may also slow down aging. The findings come from the SELECT trial, funded by Novo Nordisk, which tracked more than 17,600 participants, that's quite a lot,
That's a lot,
aged 45 and older, over 3 years. All participants were overweight or obese with cardiovascular disease, but did not have diabetes. They were given either 2.4 milligrams of semaglutide or a placebo. The study found that the participants using semaglutide had lower death rates from all causes, including cardiovascular issues and COVID-19. Although both groups were equally likely to catch COVID-19, fewer people on semaglutide died, 2.6% compared to 3.1% on the placebo. Dr. Benjamin Sukuria, a cardiovascular medicine professor at Harvard Medical School and lead author of one of the studies, emphasized that obesity increases the risk of death from multiple causes, but said that this risk can be modified with potent incretin-based therapies like semaglutide. As more studies explore the long-term benefits of GLP-1 medications, it's becoming increasingly clear that these drugs may not only help with the weight loss, but also reshape how we approach aging and chronic health conditions.
It's just exciting. I mean,
These drugs just do so many things. I was actually sitting downstairs this morning and heard a story on the news about how GLP-1 medications helped a lady stop drinking. And I was like, we're just hearing more and more news stories about this, and I think the word's getting out to more and more people, so that's great.
yeah. Story: the new GLP-1 drug from Chinese pharmaceutical company Gan and Lee could soon give Ozempic some serious competition. The company announced that its drug, called GZR-18, performed better than Ozempic in a phase 2 trial by lowering blood sugar and helping patients lose more weight. The trial involved 264 people with type 2 diabetes across 25 clinics in China. Participants were given different doses of GZR-18 every 2 weeks, 12 milligrams, 18 milligrams, or 24 milligrams, and one group received 24 milligram weekly injections. After 24 weeks, participants taking GZR-18 saw their blood sugar levels measured by HbA1c drop between 1.87% and 2.32%, depending on the dose. In comparison, those on Ozempic saw a smaller drop of 1.6%. GZR-18 also showed greater weight loss. Patients receiving the biweekly injections lost nearly 12 pounds on average compared to just over 7 pounds for those using Ozempic. As with other GLP-1 medications, the most common side effects reported were gastrointestinal issues like nausea. In an earlier announcement, Gan and Lee shared even more promising results. A separate trial using a higher 48 milligram biweekly dose of GZR-18 led to an average weight loss of 17.29% over 30 weeks. That's moving pretty fast, further highlighting the drug's potential. If these results hold up in future trials, GZR-18 could offer GLP-1 users an exciting new option for better blood sugar control and increased weight loss. With the rising popularity of drugs like Ozempic and Wegovy, more alternatives could provide additional benefits and improve accessibility for people managing type 2 diabetes and obesity. Gan and Lee's success reflects the growing competition in the GLP-1 space, which could lead to better treatment options and hopefully more affordable prices. For patients in the future, GZR-18 is showing potential to become an important new tool for those looking to improve their health and manage their weight effectively. So a Chinese version, what do you think?
That's great. I say, let's bring this to market. I think the more drugs we have to choose from, the greater the supply will be, and hopefully that will cause some competition between the manufacturers and maybe drive prices down.
Well, honestly, even if we didn't get it here, if it just could fill the Chinese need and then they weren't drawing off of the the North American and the European drugs.
There's a lot of Chinese people, for sure.
That would help with a lot of access
I mean, this
issues.
was a small study. It was under
260 people
Yeah,
is a good-sized study.
It's a good-sized study. I'm sure they'll be doing more studies on this one because it sounds extremely promising.
Well, and for those of you that are always skeptical about Chinese manufactured stuff, and I get it, it's, in China they make everything from this, which is a wildly popular, very precise product, to, apple juice.
They make everything.
So they can
China
make
can make
anything at
anything.
any quality. It's really about
Yeah.
quality control and who's running it then.
Yeah.
So we'll stay tuned and see what happens with this. It could be interesting.
And our next story, a new study suggests that adolescents treated for obesity with GLP-1 medications, such as Ozempic, which is semaglutide, and Saxenda, which is liraglutide, are less likely to experience suicidal thoughts or attempts compared to those treated with behavioral intervention like diet and exercise. The study, produced in JAMA Pediatrics, reviewed the medical records of about 7,000 children aged 12 to 18 over a 3-year period. It found that the use of GLP-1 medications was associated with a 33% lower risk of suicide-related thoughts or behavior over 1 year. Specifically, 1.4% of adolescents on these medications had suicide ideation or attempts, compared to 2.3% among those who only received behavioral treatment. The research is especially important as the use of GLP-1 drugs among adolescents has grown since they were approved for this age group in the U.S. in 2020. It comes amidst ongoing investigations in both the U.S. and Europe, where regulators have been assessing reports of suicidal thoughts in people taking GLP-1 medications. So far, no direct link has been found between the drugs and increased suicide risk. According to Dr. Kitty O'Hare, Senior Medical Director for Pediatrics at Duke Primary Care, the findings are encouraging. Teens with obesity are more likely to experience depression, anxiety, and eating disorders, so it's helpful to see research that supports the safety of these medications, said O'Hare, who was not involved in the study. The research was conducted by teams at Hadassah University Medical Center and the Hebrew University of Jerusalem, analyzing data from 120 healthcare organizations in the U.S. between 2019 and 2024. Researchers noted that adolescents on GLP-1 drugs reported more gastrointestinal side effects, which is a known issue with these medications. Dr. Nora Volkow, director of the National Institute on Drug Abuse, said the results align with other studies showing that GLP-1 medications are associated with lower suicide risk. While the findings are promising, it's still important for clinicians to monitor mental health among teens taking these medications to ensure they receive the right support if needed, Volkow emphasized. The study's authors proposed several potential reasons for the lower suicide risk. Adolescents with obesity often face bullying, low self-esteem, and a reduced quality of life, and the weight loss achieved with GLP-1 medications may help alleviate some of these struggles. Additionally, early research suggests the drugs might affect brain chemistry in ways that reduce the risk of depression or curb food addiction, although more studies are needed to confirm these effects. Despite these promising results, experts caution that GLP-1 drugs should not be considered treatments for depression. Dr. Sarah Armstrong, chief of the Division of General Pediatrics and Adolescent Health at Duke University School of Medicine, advised that families should seek independent care for both obesity and mental health challenges. It's important to address both conditions with the right treatments rather than relying on one medication to solve both, Armstrong said. The findings offer reassurance to parents and healthcare providers that GLP-1 medications, already proven to help with weight loss, may also provide unexpected mental health benefits for teens dealing with obesity. As a teenager that struggled with obesity, if I'd been able to lose weight, I sure would have had less to worry about and be upset and anxious about. Definitely, if you have a teen struggling with obesity, I would absolutely try to get them on Ozempic.
I would talk
or
to
Wegovy.
your doctor.
Talk to your doctor. Yes, of course. Talk to your doctor.
That wraps up today's edition of the Downsize News. We hope you found the updates helpful and insightful as you navigate your own GLP-1 adventure. If you enjoyed today's segment, please do not forget to like and subscribe. It's critical to make sure that our videos get shared and that other people trying to learn more about GLP-1s can find the information.
Thanks for joining us today. If you liked this video, we hope you will watch our other videos for more GLP-1 tips and interviews. And while you're at it, check out our Downsize store store at thedownsized.org, where you can find GLP-1 companion products and more. We are an Amazon affiliate, so we do make a small commission on each purchase.
Thanks for watching, and see you next time on the Downsized News.
I'm Lorraine Durham.
And I'm Christopher Durham, and we are the Downsized.